Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our nightly journey through history. January the 8th, this day in history. On this day in 1790, George Washington gave the first State of the Union address at Federal Hall in the then capital of the United States, New York City. This is required by Article 2, Section 3 of the Constitution that from time to time the President deliver a message to the Congress on the State of the Union. Now, there is no requirement that it be given in person, although the first few were. However, starting in 1801 until 1913, it was just sent as a message to Congress by the President and was read to the Congress. But since 1948, more or less, it has been given in person. There is a few exceptions here and there, most notably with Nixon when he was going through the whole Watergate affair, that it wasn't. But more or less, since 1948, it has been delivered in person by the President in the House chamber. Some other things that have occurred on this day. In 1964, Lyndon Johnson gave a State of the Union in which he declared a war on poverty. And he said in the speech, "Our aim is not to relieve the symptom of poverty, but to cure it, and above all, to prevent it." Johnson understood poverty. Johnson grew up in poverty in the hill country of Texas. If you read the Robert Caro book, The Path to Power, Caro goes into great detail about the kind of poverty Johnson experienced in his life. There were times that Johnson's family struggled so much that he worked on a road gang to earn money to go back to college, to San Marcos. Johnson understood poverty in a way that few people probably did. And coming from a part of the world that he did, he also understood it from being a teacher at a school of predominantly Hispanic students in southern Texas that just struggled terribly economically. And Johnson, I believe, saw that if we're going to expand civil rights, we also have to give them economic mobility to move up, because he saw that as an important factor too. Some births that have occurred on this day. Now, this next one is a little tricky. According to the South Korean records, the birth year is 1983. According to the CIA records, it's 1984. Kim Jong Un, Pyongyang. Kim, of course, is the ruthless leader of North Korea. And just some of the things that he is accused of are just absolutely barbaric. For instance, the vice minister, when he first came to power, the vice minister of the army had been accused of drinking and carousing during the official mourning period after the death of his father. And Kim, I guess, saw this as an affront, as an offense to the nation. So the gentleman was purged in spectacular fashion. A mortar bombardment. Yes, you heard that right. A mortar bombardment. He has also killed his half-brother in a pretty brazen nerve agent attack with an assassination squad in Malaysia in 2017. Kim Jong Un, who was his half-brother and the eldest son of his father. Of course, since coming to power, he's famous for his rocket launches, his underground nuclear tests. It really seemed like that the United States and North Korea were approaching that just red line in late 2017, early 2018. But then something occurred, and in 2018, he became the first North Korean leader to meet with the President of the United States, met with the President in Singapore, and in 2019 had two meetings in Vietnam and in North Korea with President Trump. So it was quite the exchange of words in 2017 and early 2018. Fire and Fury, Dotor, my button's bigger than your button and it works. All types of back and forth between the two leaders, and apparently now they're friends. A death that occurred on this day. In 2002, in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Dave Thomas died at the age of 69. Thomas, of course, is famous for being the founder of Wendy's, but he originally worked with Colonel Sanders at KFC. He used the earnings from that to make a go at it at his own, and in 1969, he opened his first Wendy's in Columbus. Thomas has a record of sorts. He appeared in more than 800 Wendy's ads. Appeared in 800 Wendy's ads, more than any company founder in history. Thomas was a big advocate in his lifetime for adoption, because he was given up for adoption as a child, and that was a cause, of course, near and very personal for him. He was also an advocate for education. When he was a young man, he had to drop out of school to support himself, and he did not obtain his high school diploma until 1993. And he said that was one of the big regrets of his life. So he became an advocate for education and founded a foundation dedicated to education. Thomas, of course, a big advocate of adoption and education, passed away on this day in 2002 in Fort Lauderdale. 1 year after Thomas's death in 2003, he was posthumously awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Thank you, everybody, for coming by tonight. A quick note on someone we discussed last night, Millard Fillmore. A few things I wanted to say about the 13th president. Fillmore is probably the most obscure president we have. A lot of bad things befell Fillmore. He is remembered for his failures more than his accomplishments. There used to be a Millard Fillmore Society that would gather at his grave on his birthday and lampoon the former president. So I just wanted to get that in. Quick note, on Saturday, we are going to have my video where I critique the state of the race for the presidency. This is not a prediction video. This is just my thoughts on where the race stands in. So I'm getting that all together, and it should be a pretty lengthy video. So I will see you tomorrow and on Saturday. Hello.